Hi everyone, we're doing some more live coding and we're coding another game which I like. Let's see. But before I start, there could potentially be some kitten noises because he's a little upset. Right, so the game is called Squares. The aim of the exercise is to write a simple puzzle game. The user is presented with a row of squares. Each square is colored either red, blue or white. The user can change the color of the square by clicking on it. So I can click on the squares. But there are two rules that must be enforced. Firstly, the color of a square may only change if it is the leftmost square of its color. So the red is leftmost, the white is leftmost, the blue is leftmost, but this red is not. Okay, so I can't change its color by clicking here. A square will cycle through the colors red, blue, white, red. But it will skip colors in the cycle if it means that the newly painted square is not the leftmost square of this color. Okay, so blue should turn to white, but it won't because it won't be the leftmost. And white should, okay, so the blue, what will the blue change to? It won't change to white because white is not leftmost. It won't change to red because red is not leftmost. So it'll stay blue. Okay, and the white won't change to red because it won't be leftmost. Can't have a red here. But the white will skip red and go to blue because that will be left. Okay, right. So if we click here, okay, they've got examples, so let's read them. Clicking on square 1 will change its color to blue. This is allowed because the color cycle red to blue, and it's the leftmost square. And if it changes to blue, it'll also be the leftmost blue square. Clicking on square 2 will change its color to blue. Although it is the leftmost white square, it cannot change to red because then it won't be leftmost. Yes. But it can change white, red, blue because the blue will be there. Okay, right. So this will change to blue, this will change to blue. Clicking on square 3 will not change its color, we've discussed that. It cannot change to white and it cannot change to red. Okay, and clicking on square 4 will not change its color because it's not the leftmost. So it'll never change. Good, I think I got that. Oh, here's a little kitten. Oh, say hello. Say hello. You want to go some? Do you want to do some coding? No? Okay, you carry on. Okay, right. At the beginning, all squares are red. So just 4 red squares. The object of the game is to change all the squares to the same color, I guess not red, so that you'd like to have them all either all blue or all white. Okay, so we must start from all red, change to all white or all blue. Write a program, squares.java, that implements this game. The program must accept one integer command line argument n that specifies the number of squares for the game. When the user has changed the color of the squares to all white or all blue, the program must terminate. If you want, implement an alternative version where the squares start off. Okay, I'm not going to do that. There'll be enough time just to do this. Okay, fine. Let's go. Click here. New Java project called Squares. Don't create. And build path, configure build path, libraries, class path, add jars. Add jars. And inside here, new class. It's also called squares. Right. Okay, and we need a main. And I said that the first step was to read the command line integer parse int arcs 0. Okay, now I've got N. Next, I think I'll create a canvas, but how big should it be? How big should it be? How big can N be? I don't think N can be that big. Maybe 5 or 6. So I think it's fine to say standard draw dot set canvas size. I'll tell you what I have in mind. I want the height to be 100 because I think that's small but reasonable. And it needs to be squares. It needs to be n of them. So this should be n times 100. Yeah, that looks right to me. And I am going to write a while loop because this is going to repeat. But I have to keep track of what the color of the squares are. Okay, so I need an array to tell me what the squares are. I'll just call it squares. Squares. This will be the color of the squares. It will be an array. Its size will be n. And I'm going to code it so that 0 is red, 1 is white is the next color, 2 is blue. Okay. And okay, I also have to check. Well, I can do leftmost with a method, a function that I write. Okay, right. So just for safety, I'm going to initialize this I0 I less than n I plus plus squares I is red. Okay, right. Now I'm going to write the main loop, and it's going to, I've set it up so that it's all red. I'm going to say while not all white or and not all blue. So while those two things are not true, I'm going to keep on allowing reading a click and changing the color if I'm allowed. So okay, so I'm going to draw the squares and I'm going to read a mouse click, read click, and change if possible. Okay, right. So read the click, we did that before in off color. I'm just going to steal that code. This was the code for the mouse click. Copy, paste. And the only issue is that here I converted the mouse x coordinate, canvas coordinate, from 0, it's between 0 and 1, and I converted it to be from 0 up to level minus 1. But in this case, I've got n squares, so I think that should be n. To be honest, I'm not interested in the y so much, because these can't click above or below the squares. They fill the whole screen. So I'm just going to leave out the y. And I'm going to change this variable name to clicked. Right, so now I'm going to change, if possible. So the user clicked on the square I called clicked. So I'm going to check if, well, firstly, let's take care of the first rule. They only allowed to do things to the square will only change if it's the leftmost square. So if clicked is the leftmost of its color, then we can change it. And the current color is squares clicked. And the new color, I'm going to call it the next. The next color will be the current color plus 1 mod 3. And that will cycle through the colors. So if color is 0, that will be 1. If color is point up here. If color is 1, that will become 2. If color is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, mod 3, 0. So that cycles through the colors. And only if the next color is the leftmost. See, I wanted to write this. That was my instinct. But then I suddenly thought, here, I'm not giving it a color. I'm giving it the index in the squares, the square number I'm giving to leftmost. But this time, I'm giving a color to leftmost. So maybe I should give back. What will the meaning of leftmost be? Here I said the leftmost is that whatever color is in this clicked square, there's no color of the same, there's no square of the same color before clicked. And here I want to say that there's no color next before clicked. So yeah, I'm going to give it two parameters. The index up to which it should check, and the color it should check for. We'll see in a second how that works. Clicked. If it's the leftmost, then I can change it. So I'm going to say squares clicked becomes this color. I'll go through this again, and I'm going to stop. I'm going to delete that. And yeah, right. So let's just work through this again. If there is no color up to clicked with this number, then it is the leftmost. The leftmost occurrence of this color can be in clicked. Then I calculate the current color of clicked, the clicked square. I calculate what I want the color to change to. Oh, but it should cycle. So if this is not possible, I should also try the next color. Oh, okay, right. So I'm gonna have the next 2, and I'll call this one next 1. Right, next 2 will be color plus 2 mod 3. That's the next color. So right, so I'm going to try to change the next one first, and I can if it will be the leftmost. So that's why I'm asking, is there any color before clicked that is equal to next one? Or rather, is there no color before clicked that is equal to next one? That will make it the leftmost. Then it can change to the next one. Else, if it can't, if there's no color up to clicked that's equal to next 2, then I can change squares clicked to next 2 because it will become the leftmost. I think this logic is right. But you have to think about it very carefully. Actually, let's write leftmost, because that will help us understand how I think it should work. It's a boolean, so it sends back either true or false. Leftmost. It's asking, it gives an index, and it's going to check all the colors before that index, from 0 to index minus 1. So we already know we're going to need a for loop. And it's trying to see if it can find that color. If it can't find that color, then that color in index will be the leftmost. It doesn't mean that there is that color in index at the moment, but if we put color in index, square number index, then it will be the leftmost. This is what this is saying. So I already said that I think it should be a for loop. I0, I is less than index if the square I has the color, then it won't be the leftmost in square index. So I'm going to say no, then it won't be the leftmost. And otherwise, if I've checked all of them, then I can return true. Now it's complaining that squares is local and not global, but I'm going to fix that. And just as before, I'm going to make it a global variable, public static int squares. I'm going to declare the array here, but I'm not going to initialize it. I'm only going to create the array here once I know n. That's fine. Okay, right. So let's just see leftmost again. It's going to check up to index until just before. Does color occur? If it occurs, it's going to return false, because color in squares index won't be the leftmost, and that's what this routine is checking. In fact, it's so complicated, I'm going to write a little comment. Check that no square before index has the given color. So if no square before index has that color, it'll return true. But if it finds one that has that color, it'll return false. Okay, fine. I think that's good. Okay, what else must I do? All white and all, oh, that's easy. Public static boolean all white. So it must check all the squares and see if they're all white. Now, how many squares are there? Well, there are n squares, and n is a local variable inside main. So you'd think that I need to make it global as well. But all white can see squares. And squares knows its own length, so we can just use that. Go from 0 up to squares.length. If the color of squares I is not white, and we said white was 1, then return false. So if I find one that's non-white, I return false, but otherwise I've checked them all and they're all white and I return true. And I'll do the same thing for all blue. Uh-oh, now I've made a mistake. There we go. This time I want it to be all blue. And if that's not too... I just want to double check if I've got the color cycle right. So I said it's red, white and blue. That sounds right. Red, blue and white. No, that's wrong. Oh, wow. Okay, let's change it around. That should be... Blue should come first. So it should be blue. White comes last. Oh man. See, this is why it's so useful to have constants. In fact, it's so useful, I'm going to do that now. Public static. If it's a constant, we usually put a final in front. Make red 0. Make white blue 1. Make white 2. I don't need this nonsense. And now I've got to carefully work through this. Initially they're all red. This stuff doesn't change at all. Then I can just write white. I don't have to change it to 2. There I can just write blue and I don't have to change it to 1. Okay, right, let's see. Only thing left is draw squares. Okay, but that's not hard. Public static void draw the squares. Okay. Now, if you've seen the video about the off-color game, you'll know that I used a formula to convert from block coordinates to screen coordinates, 0 to 1. And I'm going to use the same trick. So this is just going to be a for loop that works through all the squares. Now I've got to draw the ith square. So first I'm going to set the pen color. If the square I is red, standard draw dot set pen color to standard draw dot red. That's what I want. Else, if the square I is white or blue, then set the blue. Otherwise, it's white. Okay. Got the pen color. Now all I have to do is draw a filled square. Filled square. It wants the x coordinate from 0 to 1. Y coordinate, I'm going to put 0.5 because that'll always be correct. And the radius. I wonder if my life would be easier if I just change the canvas. Yes, it will. So instead of x having to calculate, I'm just going to say I plus 0.5 because we have to put the middle of the square. So I'm going to change the canvas so that the x coordinates go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, n. And the y coordinates go 0, 1. So you can see that instead of just going 0 to 1, the x's will go up to n. So I can just use I for the corners of the squares and I plus a half for the middle of the square. And the middle of the square in y coordinates will be 0.5 and the side of the square is 0.5. Good. Yes, let's do that. So here I'm going to say standard draw dot set x scale 0 to n. 0 on the one side, n on the other side. So they're fixed like that. Okay, right. I drew the square, I set the pen color. I didn't show it. We must remember there are certain commands that show automatically, but it's best to have a standard draw that show somewhere. So this is draw squares. This is check all blue. Looks right. This checks all white, goes through all the squares. If it's not white, send back false. But if it's all white, send back true. Leftmost, I think I got right. Okay. Right, let's save and run. Oh, I hope this works. Oh no. Oh, of course, command line parameter. Yes. Arguments is string prompt. Apply and run. Let's start with 4. Boom, 4. Okay. It's coming. Oh, you can't see the squares. Okay, no, I don't want this. No. Because there's no space between the squares, the side length, I'll just make it a bit smaller, just a tiny bit. Save and run. Maybe I won't even be able to see that. No, I can see it. Okay, fine, good. Right. Can I change this? No, it's not leftmost. Ooh. Array index out of bounds. If it happens, it happens. 14. Oh, wow. How did I get this wrong? Squares.java 28. Line 28. So clicked. Oh. Yaku is so stupid. So the x coordinates used to be from 0 to 1. And then I used this formula to convert it from 0 to n. And then I changed the coordinate system so it goes from 0 to n, and now this conversion is no longer valid. So I don't have to multiply by n at the end. This will already be from 0 to n. The only issue is it's a double, which I changed to an int. Oh, nobody told me. Okay, let's run again. Yes. Let's see how this works. So clicking the square won't do anything because it's not leftmost, not leftmost, not leftmost. This should change cycle through all three colors. Blue, white, red. Blue, white, red. If I make this blue, this becomes the leftmost red square. Still can't click these two. But this I can click. It can't change to blue because it won't be leftmost, but it can change to white. And it can change back to red because the white is leftmost, it's leftmost white, and the red will be the leftmost right. Make that blue or white, I can make this nothing. Even though it's now the leftmost red, I can't change it to blue because it won't be leftmost, can't change it to white, but this can change to white. Now this can change to blue or red. No, this can change back to blue. So I've already got two blue squares. Let's see if I can repeat that exercise. Oh, I know what to do. I should make this blue. It's not, okay, red, make this blue, make this blue. White. I could change this to white. It's not leftmost. To white. What am I doing? Oh, this is an interesting puzzle. It's leftmost. If I click it, why doesn't it change to the... What is going on here? No, nothing is changing. It looks like my program is frozen. But it hasn't frozen. It's just quit. It's terminated. But the window is still open. So I'm going to firstly close the window. Let's see what happens if we do the last click. We do the last click. Here, we read it. We check if we can change. I change all of them to white. Now this while loop will terminate because all white is now true. So this whole thing becomes false. And it stops here. But it doesn't do anything. It doesn't print a message. Let's print a message. Well done. And let's close that standard draw canvas because that is what caused all the problems. And I should probably, if I'm gonna, do I close it or just draw it? No, I'll close it. Okay, that's fine. We'll go. I'll draw it and then I'll close it. Draw blocks and close. Now it's complaining about draw blocks. What's wrong with draw blocks? Draw board. Okay. No, what is it called? Draw squares. Okay, draw squares. Okay. I'm going to run it. I'm going to go through that painful exercise again of trying to figure out what to click. I guess I start here. It's not leftmost. There we go. white, white, not leftmost, white, white. Well done. Okay, right. There we go. It's quite a puzzle. Okay, right.